All right. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to another edition of Marilyn's Cafe Society radio show here on my YouTube channel, Marilyn's Cafe Society. So glad to be with you on this Saturday, the 21st day of 2018. Yeah, just 254 more days left. And this year, what are you going to do? How are you going to celebrate? In fact, how was your week this past week? I had a good week until yesterday. Oh my goodness. Oh, Goldie left me hanging twice. Now, those who are close to me know who Goldie is. For those who don't, I will keep you in suspense for a while. But I managed to get through the day yesterday. And of course, here we are today on Saturday with another edition of the show. Now, of course, today kicks off National Dance Week. So how do you plan to get your dance on this week? You know, there's a lot that you can do, even if you have not been. And I must admit that I've kind of slacked off too on my daily dancing. But, you know, just for the next week or so, squeeze in some dance time. That's one way you can do it. Here's some ideas from the National Dance Foundation. They, of course, are challenging us to dance for some causes. And the first cause is inclusion. They want you to organize some kind of dance and be sure to include those who have been pushed out. You know, those with disabilities, those because of their skin color or ethnicity, those because of their sexual orientation. Just organize a dance and invite those and let them do it, because after all, everyone can dance, right? Also, they want you to dance for kindness. And I don't think that the world is lacking kindness. I think we just need to see more of it, right? So one way you can do it is to take a stance against bullying through dance. Yeah, they're encouraging you all to form some kind of event, dance event, and kick out or kick in kindness for the next week or so. And just as you move through your life, you know, your day-to-day life, be one of those people who don't accept it. You know, if you see some bullying going on, and we know that bullying comes in many forms, right? And it can be very subtle too. So you be that person who says, no, that's not acceptable. Show some kindness on behalf of someone or groups of people. Also, what they are encouraging people to do, and that is, of course, the National Dance Foundation, they are encouraging people to dance for your community. So, in other words, you might want to, again, organize some kind of dance event and raise dollars for a not-for-profit organization or for a family in need, and let it all surround the love or the gift or just, you know, a dance routine. Now, of course, you want to include people in your community for this event, so be sure that you let the community know. So those are the three things that they're asking people to do as we raise awareness for dance, and just how dance makes you feel better, doesn't it? It just kind of makes you feel better, you know, the combination of music and movement and dance. So again, inclusion, kindness, and community. And for those who are local to the show area here, be on the lookout this week for some surprise dances that may happen. That's all I'm going to say. And who knows, you may even be invited to participate. So make sure you check out me on my social media platforms at Marilyn's Cafe Society, or actually it's at Marilyn's Cafe Soch on Twitter and Marilyn's Cafe Society on Facebook. And of course, you can go to marilynscafesociety.com to find out more about that. And last but not least, we are, and it's not last, but we are closing out National Karaoke Week. on Monday, I believe is the last day. So you still have some time to get your karaoke on. Of course, it all inspired me, reminded me about my Marilyn's karaoke moments that I used to do back in the day on the show and how people loved it. And so I am going to start doing that again. I have not decided yet if I'm going to have a karaoke moment on today's show yet or not. So you got to stay tuned for that. All right. And then this is last but not least. Tomorrow is Earth Day, everybody. So what are you going to do to help save the planet Earth? What are you going to do? Well, there's a lot you can do, and I know a lot of you are already recycling and all of that, but we'll talk a bit more about that later on in the show. All right, and then, of course, for our On This Day in History, this is interesting, and it kind of speaks to how we have evolved or how we continue to evolve in society. So back in 1856, a railroad train crossed the Mississippi River between Davenport, Iowa, and Rock Island, Illinois for the very first time. Yeah, railroad train. So remember, back in those days, it was strictly horses and horse and carriages and buggies and all of that. And then, lo and behold, they created the railroad, a speedy way to travel and deliver things. And so this was huge, to get over that Mississippi River on a train. So that's very interesting. Also, coming a little bit closer to today's time, back in 1989, the Nintendo Game Boy debuted in Japan. Yeah. And for those who can remember, the handheld device, hit the United States that summer, later on that summer. But it was groundbreaking technology. We had gotten used to sitting in front of a screen with our little devices playing Pac-Man and some of the other games that came out later on. But this Nintendo created this mobile device that people could take with them to play the games with. So that was an introduction to this, everybody. Yeah, we're still doing that right now today with our cell phones. Heads down, not talking to each other, I tell you. All right, but anyway, that was back in 1989 on this day in history. All right, and so a lot has been happening, as always, in news. And I just, you can't squeeze in everything because there's just so much going on in all arenas of life in terms of news. But I did highlight a few news items that caught my attention, and some of them were headline news stories, starting with the Starbucks situation. I know you guys heard about this, the two African-American young entrepreneurs all planning to meet up in a Starbucks. Typical, right? That's what we do. We meet up in a Starbucks for a business meeting. One of the young men's name was Rashawn Nelson. The other is Dante Robinson. Sitting there waiting. One had to use the washroom, was told they could not use it because they had not purchased or ordered anything yet. And, moments later, police walk in, handcuff them, and arrest them for trespassing. You heard it, right? 100,000 times. Well, the update is these young men have met with Starbucks CEO Kevin Johnson, and he issued a public apology even before he met these two, and again apologized to them in person, and has agreed to do some mediation with these young men and Starbucks so that they can make some lasting changes on the issues of unconscious racial bias or just racial bias as it is happening here in the United States. And so one of the things that Starbucks has agreed to do is to shut down the store on May 29th. And not just one Starbucks, not that particular Starbucks in Philadelphia, but across the country and globe. They're closing all of the Starbucks, and they're going to host a racial bias training. And it's going to be led by former United States Attorney General Eric Holder and the leadership of the NAACP and others. Some 175,000 Starbucks employees will be the beneficiaries of this much needed training. And here's an idea. Why don't you live stream it so that across the country and around the world, people can tune in, people who may need that, or refresher courses, or just to raise the awareness of racial bias. You should live stream that so people can check it out. And they also are working with Starbucks, these two young men, to create new policies on how they deliver or determine whether or not a consumer or customer should be ejected from the store or asked to leave the store, and also overall on the topic of racial discrimination. So good for them, and hats off to Starbucks CEO Kevin Johnson for stepping up to the plate, owning it, and vowing to, and obviously is doing something about it. All right, and then this is a story. I just wanted to share this because normally when I go to the business section and read some of these stories, especially about Commonwealth Edison or electricity providers, the story is always warning the customers that the rates are going to increase. Well, this one talks about a decrease that's coming. Yeah, Commonwealth Edison filed for a $23 million decrease in customer electricity rates for 2019. Now, that is here in the state of Illinois. I don't know what they did in other states, but they filed it with the Illinois Commerce Commission to decrease the average residential electricity bill by 50 cents. Now, I know 50 cents does not sound like a whole lot, but a little bit helps, right? Every penny counts. And so this is going to start January 2019. This particular filing makes the 8th formula rate request since the Illinois General Assembly enacted the Smart Grid law back in 2011. Now, the Smart Grid law is officially called the Energy Infrastructure and Modernization Act. And what it did was it authorized investments of $2.6 billion to Commonwealth Edison to upgrade and modernize their Illinois energy infrastructure, as well as create ways to empower customers to control their consumption of electricity, as well as the cost of their electricity. So I thought that was really cool to see a filing for, or to ask for, a decrease. Yeah, 50 whole cents, but it matters. All right. All right. And then, of course, this week we were earlier in the week informed that Barbara Bush and the family had decided to stop the aggressive medical interventions on her behalf. She had been ill for a while, and just to, I guess, let nature take its course. And a day or two later, we were all informed that she passed away at the age of 92 years old, surrounded by all of her family. And of course, that's how she's mostly remembered, for her complete devotion to her family. Also, her devotion to public service, especially in the role of First Lady of the United States of America, and her big push for literacy. So condolences to the family and friends of Barbara Bush. All right, on a business note, let's see. first we heard about Toys R Us. How devastating, right? They're going away. It's just unimaginable, but we are living in a world that is continually to evolve. So yeah, Toys R Us are going away. And then of course I read and talked about Sears and how important Sears was to the lives of many Americans in its heyday, and they just closed their last Chicago store. There are other stores still up and running, but very few, excuse me. And now we have been informed that Carson Pirie Scott, well, we knew some time ago they filed for bankruptcy, but they are in fact closing all of their stores. Liquidation sales are now in full force, and once the liquidation is complete, all the stores, Carson Pirie Scott stores, will close. I don't know. We're just, times are changing. I just hope that we're not jumping the gun in all of this. How, well, not us, but those who make these decisions about the socialization of humanity or buying, spending patterns of human beings, how it appears that we're changing. But remember, things are cyclical, right? So let's not start closing all these stores and then 10 years from now, we have to rebuild and open them up again. That's all I'm trying to say here. And in that vein, here's another story that's interesting. First, they joined forces with Whole Foods and Kohl's, and now they're continuing their partnership with Best Buy. This news came through the pipe a couple of days ago, and of course, I'm referring to Amazon, because they are living up to their name. All right, so they have signed a multi-year partnership to offer the new Fire TV Edition smart TVs in their stores. Of course, these Fire TVs are from Amazon, and so they will be offering them to their customers. And speaking of Amazon, they, of course, launched about 13 years ago their Prime, Amazon Prime. And lo and behold, some 13 years later, they have finally hit the 100 million member mark. Yeah, people have agreed to pay or are paying $99 per year for the Prime service, which of course offers a 2-day free shipping bonus for those who participate. They're not the first ones who offered this kind of service. However, Costco's has been selling annual memberships forever. And they, of course, have about 50.4 million memberships. And so Amazon passed them up, but that does not leave Amazon in the #1 spot for digital subscriptions. Listen to this. Netflix is #1 with 125 million worldwide subscribers who on an average pay about $120 annually to watch video streaming movies. So they are in the #1 spot. Of course, Amazon #2, and now Costco in #3 spot. Now, overall, Amazon Prime has helped give Amazon a market value of about $740 billion. That does not put them in the #1 spot in that space either, because Apple has 900 billion under their belt in terms of, how much, what their worth is, how much they make, followed by Google at $745 billion. And then Amazon rounds out the top 3. So there you have it in terms of business news and Amazon and so forth. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at passion for fashion. Let's see what our time is here so that we don't go too long, because we will have a special guest calling in. Oh, that's what I wanted to tell you guys. We have a special guest who's going to be joining the show via telephone for our entertainment segment. It's going to be very interesting because she's a filmmaker, and kind of staying with the theme of the show today, talking about inclusion and kindness and community. One of the films that she dared to share and make happen is sort of based on all of that, includes all of that. And so you'll get to meet her momentarily. So stand by for that. In the mean and between time, let's take a quick look at passion for fashion. All right. So thanks to the millennials, they are helping some of the brands that baby boomers and beyond have appreciated and enjoy become timeless. Yeah, they're timeless brands thanks to the millennials. And of course, millennials are those 20 to 30 somethings. They are keeping these brands alive. One is Chanel, which is headquartered in Paris, France. The other is Levi's, you know, the jean company, blue jeans company, out of San Francisco, California. Ralph Lauren from New York, New York. Converse. Yeah, you remember the Converse All-Stars and the Chuck Taylors and all of that? Well, they're out of Boston, Massachusetts, and millennials love them. Okay. Some retailers that millennials love to shop with, get this, JCPenney and Macy's. Macy's, of course, headquartered in Cincinnati, Ohio, has a huge millennial base, as well as baby boomers who shop with them. Adidas, they're in Germany. Jordan, the Jordan brand out of Beaverton, Oregon, you know, Michael Jordan's shoes and apparel. All right. So, of course, the kids love him and his brands. And then last but not least, Nike, the Nike brand, which is affiliated with the Jordan brand. By the way, so is Converse. So they're all in this on this list of brands that are becoming timeless, because generation after generation after generation is supporting and appreciating these brands. And of course, the millennials have fallen to suit as well. So good for them, right? All right. And as they, you know, these millennials are also slowly moving into the position of being the largest consumer group here in the United States. And so I guess these brands can rest assured that they will maintain their spot. And that has been your look at passion for fashion. Okay, and then we'll just real quickly look at some other entertainment news as we wait for our caller to check in with us. Some of the top stories that I've noted include the Carrie Underwood appearance. Did you watch the American Country Music Awards last week? Well, Carrie Underwood made her appearance. Now, of course, about 9 months ago, she shared via social media that she had this horrible accident and that, you know, she injured her wrist as well as her face. And she was very concerned about whether or not she would be all right. And so she performed at the American Country Music Awards. And, you know, her fans and everybody saw her for the first time, and everyone was buzzing about the fact that she looked the same. So they weren't quite sure what her her facial injuries were and what the big hype and concern was. And so on yesterday, Friday, she posted a close-up picture, a closer-up picture of herself on one of her social media platforms, which did reveal some very faint scratches and cuts around her mouth area. And of course, she talked about it just in the last few days, offered up more, I should say, details about her fall, and that it was, the biggest part of the fall was her wrist, I guess, as she was trying to brace the fall, and then her face, the mouth area of her face. So anyway, good for her that, people could hardly tell. Now, granted, she was wearing makeup, but people could hardly tell that she had any incidences or injuries to her face. And so good for her on that, and the operations or surgeries that really helped out in that respect as well. All right. Also, the big buzz last weekend was Beyonce's legendary performance at Coachella. I jumped on social media, I think it was Saturday night into Sunday, and that's all everybody was tweeting about and sharing footage. And of course, I got a chance to check out some of the footage, and legendary, absolutely. I say beyond a doubt. And now, of course, folks are comparing her to Michael Jackson as well as Prince in terms of being the best entertainer of all times. Do you agree with that? I'm telling you, after watching the live stream last weekend, I'm convinced she nailed everything, just perfection, right? And so kudos to her. Now, she is set to do a second show. I'm not sure if I think it happens today. No, not last night. So it happens today. But unfortunately for Beyonce fans, this particular performance at Coachella will not be live streamed. Now, some are thinking or sort of anticipating that, footage should be professional footage, that is, not people using their phones to get parts of it, but professional footage either from Beyonce's camp or from the Coachella camp will surface hopefully, within a day or two after her performance, her second performance tonight. But, and then, the big question was, is this a totally different set from last weekend's set, or is she redoing what she did? So, it's all up in the air. There are rumors that there will be elements from last week's performance and this second performance, and even some more surprises for all of the people there at Coachella. So for everyone else at home, all you can do is, wait and hope and wish that Coachella or Beyonce's camp will actually record the performance and share it with all of the fans at a later date. All right. That should have been my cafe talk question, by the way. Do you think Beyonce has now elevated to the level in terms of entertainment that Michael Jackson and Prince have achieved? Do you think she is one or the greatest entertainer of all times? Very interesting. All right, so I didn't make it to the movies this week, but on my list, I can't wait to see this one, of course, starring Amy Schumer, I Feel Pretty. And she's going to be tackling all the things that some of us women deal with in terms of our looks, right? Our physical appearances, from, which gives us self-esteem issues, from body image, and apparently in this movie, something happens to her and she hits her head or something. I don't know, but she becomes, she has this complete body revolution where she thinks everything about her is just gorgeous. So I can't wait to see this movie. And then also, all the hype about the Avengers Infinity movie has me interested. And that's because I did catch the Black Panther movie. I told you guys I was never into the comics or any of that. And so now that I've seen the Black Panther movie, I'm very interested. All right, this is our guest. Let's take the call and say hello. Hi, who's this?
Hi, this is Fitz.
Hey, Fitz. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Fantastic. Welcome to the show. You are now on the live stream with me.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for interviewing us on Jules Catch One.
Yes. Now, I have the volume up so that, those who are viewing the live stream can hear you. And I just ask that maybe you give a little bit more volume to your voice as we start our talk. But I just want to, properly introduce you to the listeners. Of course, it's C. Fitz. She's a whole lot. She does a whole lot, but a creator, a writer, a producer, and director of films. You have a history in the entertainment world and social media world. Would you like to share a little bit more about that with us?
Sure. I directed Jules Catch One documentary. It took me 8 years. And my day job, though, is in marketing and social media management. However, my baby has been Jules Catch One, and it covers Catch One, the legendary Catch One, and the amazing life of Jewel Tice Williams so far, and all that she did in 4 decades on that corner in Los Angeles of Norton and Pico. There's a lot of history that runs through my documentary. And it's very important to me. Obviously, 8 years in the making, and we're finally releasing it through Array and Ava DuVernay, and we're very excited. May 1st, it'll be on Netflix.
Right, and so last night, Fitz, I had an opportunity to actually view the documentary, and it's quite impressive. And I can see the span of time. You referenced that it took you 8 years to complete it, and I can see that. And then, of course, you were able to dig up some awesome footage from the early days of the club, and just capture the significance in terms of the role that Jewel Days Williams played in that club. Now, I've read that it's been likened to Studio 54 in New York City. That was the go-to club in its heyday, and on the West Coast, it was Jules Catch One.
Absolutely, and one of the major differences of Catch One that Jewel instituted is that she allowed everybody in without being hassled. Back in the day when she had the club at the beginning, and she bought it in 1973, women weren't easily allowed in. Blacks weren't easily allowed in. They were asked for triple ID instead of just one, just to hassle them some more. And hers held the doors open for everyone. And that was the beginning of Catch One. And it became a mecca of dance, and all kinds of people went there, including celebrities, where they weren't hassled and they could just dance and have a good time. And it grew into an international dance club.
Right. And it's amazing. I just want to pause there for a minute in terms of how significant that was, particularly in that time and age, in society where if you were different, if you didn't look like everyone else or behave like everyone else, or if your sexual orientation was different from everyone else, you were sort of pushed out or marginalized or not welcomed, so to speak. But as you just said, Jewel opened the doors at Catch One to all of those people, and she played a tremendous role in raising awareness about AIDS and HIV.
Yeah, I imagine being Jewel during that time. There was so much racism, homophobia, and the authorities targeted marketed her club especially because she allowed everybody in. And imagine being that one woman that's standing up to the authorities, night after night, and still opening those doors and not just folding. And she had offers. She had cash offers to buy her out, of course, because they wanted her out of the neighborhood. But she said, no. They even burned her down in 1985.
I saw that.
During the AIDS crisis where she was losing patrons anyway. And she, again, a cash offer, she's like, no, I'm going to rebuild. And the city didn't even allow her to rebuild quickly. She had to fight them for 2 years after the fire, and she did it somehow. She kept fighting, to get the permits to rebuild without hardly any help from the authorities. And she's a true hero, a true pioneer. It's amazing. It's an amazing story, and then it's surrounded with a lot of beautiful patron stories that surrounded Catch One and called it home for so many years.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, at age 56, she went on to, out of that desire, and I call it an innate gift from God to be the voice or advocate for others. She wanted to further her education, and she went on to study traditional Chinese medicine so that she could help even more in all that she was doing with those who, during that time when HIV first became known and a national news story, or international news story for that matter, in the early to mid 80s. Even medical care was difficult for those people to get, or people, I should say, not those people to receive. And so I would imagine that was some of her motivation for going on and getting her degree in Oriental medicine.
She's a true healer. After doing the film and during it, I realized even the club, she kept opening those doors because it was healing for so many. Like I mentioned, they called it home. She gave jobs to people. She gave them a space to organize. And to your point, she's a true healer. She went on age 56 back to school, got her acupuncture license, and then eventually opened right next door a nonprofit health clinic and helped a lot of people that, patrons that were going to the catch in her community. And they didn't have the greatest health care, and she gave them a place where they could go to receive it. And to this day, Jewel is still practicing, still has her clinic. She's grown it into the Village Health Foundation, and again, giving space to all different organizations to heal. And that's so important. At age 79, she's still serving her community, and the documentary speaks to that, but boy, she's an international hero, I think, and definitely an inspiration. One of the things that the film does is, after watching Jewel's life that's reflected in the film, people in the audience not only are entertained because there's a lot of music and celebrity interviews and it's a lot of fun, but also they're inspired by watching her life and all that she did.
Yeah.
For four decades. They're inspired to do something with their own life and to reach out to their own community. And I've heard this over the film festival circuit where we played at a few spots, and it was amazing that we were inspiring audiences of all kinds to help their neighbor to go out and do something by watching Jewel's story.
Absolutely. In fact, you received awards from the Melbourne Documentary Film Festival, Palm Springs International Film Festival, the BFI London Film Festival. You didn't get a lot of mainstream attention with this, but you did get a lot of LGBT media attention, and you did garner the attention of Ava DuVernay. And so they are going to be distributing this, as you announced earlier. This particular film, Jewel's Catch One, is going to debut on Netflix, everybody, on May 1st, May Day. And of course, kudos to you too, Fitz, for having the courage to tell this story. I think it's awesome when you, for you to tell the story of the unsung. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have never known about her had it not been for this film and you. So hats off to you for being courageous enough to tell this story as well.
Yeah, thank you. It was something when I first met Jewel in 2010. I was doing a little piece, a 3-minute piece on her. She was winning an award for her community work. And, I stood on that corner with her. I met her in her clinic, and the club's right next door. And I love dance music and all of that. But when I met her, it was an unwritten textbook, as I call it. It was history that had to be told. There was no way I could just leave it at 2 to 3 minutes. It just didn't cover it enough. And how could you not know Jewel Tice Williams? How could you not know this history that was born in this club and all the history that ran through it for decades? I was compelled to do something more with it, and I am very blessed that Ava and Array saw the importance of this history and telling all the social injustices that ran through Catch and how one woman changed it around or just stood up to it, because that's what helps change things. People standing up, Jewel standing up, and having a space like Catch One to make change happen. And so I'm blessed. I am very blessed to Ava and Array for taking it further, for making it an international screening on Netflix. And that's going to be wonderful. I'm very excited. And we've also got our national city screening tour that we're going to be going through that starts this Sunday in Atlanta.
Oh, cool. All right. Well, you guys got to keep me up to date when you're going to hit the Chicagoland area.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We are excited. We are going to be in Chicago, 6:15, Stony Island Art Space at the Black Cinema House.
Okay.
So, yeah, we're in Chicago, baby, and there's a lot of music and fun and history. So please come out to that screening.
And underlying all of the entertainment and the fun that happened there's a very compelling, interesting, inspiring story of humanity, and all of that. I'm glad you did the film, and it's good to know that Jewel Tice Williams existed, and I'm sure there's more out there, and I hope that you and others like you will find them and continue to tell their stories.
Thank you very much. It's an honor. Thank you so much.
Okay, and I look forward to speaking with you when you come to Chicago in June.
All right. We look forward to bringing this film to Chicago and entertaining some folks with it, but also having them learn about our history and honoring Jewel and then inspiring change. So thank you so much.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Fitz, for sharing some time with me here on the Cafe Society today. You are now an honorary member. So just let everybody else know about the show, and then we'll meet in person in a couple months.
Sounds great. Thanks for having us today. Have a great weekend.
You too, Fitz. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Bye.
Peace. All right, that's C. Fitz, director extraordinaire. She does everything. And of course, the director of this Jewel's Catch One. Again, folks, I encourage you on May 1st to tune into Netflix to watch this documentary of this woman, one woman who affected change in the community in which she lived. And her story is a miraculous story. Push past all of your biases and ideas and thoughts, and look at the story of a human being who helped other human beings, and in a way that many would have folded and buckled, especially during those times. So again, that's on Netflix on May 1st. Jewel's Catch One. Be sure to check it out. Thanks again to C. Fitz for stopping by, and of course for everyone over there at Array, Mercedes, and everyone for helping make this happen. I appreciate you. All right, so that's our entertainment news, and of course we still have Cafe Talk to do. Oh, goodness. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. So, Cafe Talk goes back to Earth Day. Remember, we at the beginning of the show talked about tomorrow being Earth Day. And so the Cafe Talk question is, what are you going to do? What have you been doing, and what do you plan to do tomorrow and beyond to help save planet Earth? It's posted on Twitter as well as Facebook. And of course, I talk about the 3 R's a lot. And anybody who knows me, I talk about the 3 R's a lot. And of course, that's referencing reuse, repurpose, and recycle. And so these are just some ideas. And if you have been doing it or plan to do it, again, you can call me at 815-254. No, I'm giving you the radio station number. 815-593-1695 to share with me what you plan to do, how you plan to help the planet, or you can text me at 815-593-1695. I'm going to get to Facebook in a minute to see what kind of responses we have, but I did want to share these changes that you can make to help impact planet Earth, make it a better place, help save planet Earth. All right. So water bottles are the big talk. Plastic. In fact, I think earthday.org, that's their theme this year, how to help get rid of all of the plastic. I think out of the 1 million purchased bottles of water or plastic that we use each year, only half of them make it to a recycle place. So what's happening with the others? Well, they're getting into our environment and ecosystem. So one thing that you can do is make a more conscientious effort to make sure that you recycle the plastic bottles and other plastic items that your food or whatever comes in. Most municipalities offer the blue bins just for that purpose. And, cardboard and everything else can go in there too. Also, what you can do is start using the reusable bags when you shop in the grocery stores, and don't do the plastic bags because, again, plastic it's not good for the environment. All right, so that's the recycle part. And of course, I think the numbers are through the roof with the people who are doing the recycling, but what about just stepping your game up a bit? So all you have to do is reach out to your local county or municipality to see what other ways, are there other things in the house that can be recycled? Electronics and things of that nature, of course. So just find out where those sites are so that you can step your game up and do that as well. And then you just want to make sure when you're shopping that you choose food items or whatever in sustainable packaging. That's packaged that's easily to break down in the garbage processing cycle. It can be recycled or even upcycled to help reduce millions and millions and millions of tons of plastic waste that just ends up in our ecosystems. All right. Reuse. One of the things, that's the other R, the recycle. The reuse is to just reuse your water bottles. For example, this is one of the bottles of water that I purchased Thursday. And after the water was all gone, I'm just reusing it now for my tea. And, because, when I move around, sometimes I just take what I need with me. So I'll put it in this bottle. There are some concerns about how long you can use the bottles or how long the liquids in the bottles can stay because of the the plastic starts to break down, and some of those chemicals might get in your water or whatever it is that you're drinking in the plastic bottles. But, I usually, after the second reuse, I'll go ahead and recycle it. Repurpose is the last R, and that is when I wish I had this kind of creativity, when you're able to create things out of, for example, the plastic bottle. I'd love to hear if some of you guys have been able to do that. Are you able to take a plastic bottle and turn it into something else, reuse it for something else? Now, I did do that a few years ago with the cardboard boxes. You get the boxes with, if you order something, it comes in a cardboard box. And rather than throw the box out, I covered it with contact paper or a pretty wallpaper or wrapping paper, and reused it as sort of a storage spot for socks or, toys or whatever. So that's where the reuse comes in. Now, over the years, I have seen students especially take recyclable items and even turn them into something you can wear. Right. But let's go to Facebook and see if we have some comments here to the Cafe Talk question. All right. Let's see. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, people. I don't want you to say good morning. Did you not see the question that was posted? All right. All right. Jim always comes through with his comment. He says that he and his family do the recycle thing, have been doing it for years, and will continue to do the recycling. Let's see. What else do we have here? All right. Just a lot of good mornings. I need more than that, folks. I need you to chime in and let us know what you're doing with for Earth Day tomorrow. I'll check back in later on in the day, as I always do. But yeah, so those were just some ideas for you guys. And let's see, how can I get to the other page real fast here? And like I said, I'll jump back on social media to see if there were some responses on some of the other social media sites. Again, I'd love to know if you're watching live. Before I sign off, if you could call 815-593-1695. Okay. Let's see here. Just trying to get to another social media and see what we have to share there. Oops. All right. So listen, again, for those who are local, be on the lookout this week for a dance opportunity. You can find me on Marilyn's Cafe Soch on Twitter and Marilyn's Cafe Society on Facebook. Also on, what else am I on? Yeah, those are the main ones. And you can also go to Maryland'sCafeSociety.com to see what's, what the updates are in that respect. And also just a reminder to check out the screening or the tour for the film Jules Catch One as they hit the Chicagoland area in June. Okay. All right. Well, listen, that is a wrap, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. I will get this posted to the social media platforms as well as the website so that you can, at your leisure, if you didn't have an opportunity to catch the live stream at this moment, you can check it out at your leisure. So it'll be posted there for you. I know I got to catch up on the blogs. I'm slowly catching up on the blogs. So make sure that you check out the blog from time to time as I get it updated and everything. Can you see the blue makeup I'm wearing? Yeah, I did something different today. Well, not different. I've done blue before, but I did kind of go heavy on the highlight, the part of the eyebrow where you use the lighter color. All right, that's a wrap, everybody. I got to tell you what love is. Love is, oh, gee, I don't have it. Okay. Oh, that's one thing I forgot. Everything else is going so good. How about love is our guest, C. Fitz, for being so courageous and sharing the story of Jules Catch One. And remember, everybody, if you don't do anything else this week, be sure that you live, you laugh, and you love. As always, it's been a pleasure and a privilege. And we'll do this all over again next Saturday, right here on Marilyn's Cafe Society's YouTube channel. Peace, everybody. Be sure to dance.